Listen up. It's now 2026, so let me give you an update on what's happened in the last few days. Because it's a lot. On December the 29th, Iran leader says country in full-fledged war with U.S., Israel, and Europe. December the 30th, China unleashes live fire show of force near Taiwan on second day of military drills. On the same day, CIA behind strike at Venezuelan dock that Trump claims was used by drug smugglers. And apparently this is where Chinese vessels were also held. On the same day, Saudi Arabia bombed Yemen port city over weapons shipment. On the same day, oil tankers still arriving in Venezuela despite U.S. blockade. There was also a chemical spill, roughly 1 million gallons of sulfuric acid, that spilled in Channelview. There was also a train derailment in Kentucky that leaked molten sulfur. Russia's doomsday radio plays Swan Lake. You know that the Swan song represents a final gesture, effort, or performance given just before death or retirement. Because we know that swans, right before they die, they sing a song. Also on December 30th, there was a 5.3 magnitude earthquake near Susanville, California, which they later downgraded. They don't want to spook anybody or draw attention because of this. Now, it just so happens that 30 miles away from where the earthquake was is a army base. You want to guess what all these are? They're bunkers. Everything I've already told you, it looks like we're getting ready for war, right? So of course they're going to get their bunkers ready. So I wonder if any other earthquakes that have hit lately are near bunkers. Well, Lancaster, Kentucky got hit with a 3.4 magnitude earthquake the other day. And guess what? 15 miles away from that is an army base. And guess what these are? They're bunkers. And if you go to YouTube on Dutch Sense, you can see on his video, he zooms in and it's a army base. This is a map of the earthquakes that have struck in the last 14 days. This is the Ring of Fire. This is a wild amount and plenty of them are over 5.0. 2026 is going to be very interesting. But if you are a child of God, you have nothing to worry about. Because the Lord told us all of this was going to happen. Earthquakes in diverse places. Wars and rumors of wars. Anyone with eyes to see and ears to hear know what time we're in.
Well. So where is all those America First Red Hat patriots at? Where you at, baby? I'm sure you would have something to say about your taxpayer money flowing out of America to another country, honey, right? I mean, that doesn't make America great to take your taxpayer money and put it on somebody else's plate. You see, Daddy Dumpy Pants was down there at Brokeback Mar-a-Lago for the holidays, and he invited Dudu Netanyahu for a visit, boo. And they crafted up a little plan for the taxpayer in this land. Yep, he just decided to give Dudu Netanyahu $8.6 billion of taxpayer money, boo. And that's after already giving Dudu Netanyahu $13.8 billion this year. That's right. $13.8 billion this year. And you know what happened to that $13.8 billion that we gave to Dudu Netanyahu this year? You don't know? Nobody does. Because it's missing. It just disappeared. Isn't that funny? How money can just disappear like that, dear? That's a lot of money to just poof, disappear. $13.8 billion. And nobody today knows where that money went. It made its way to Israel and then just fucking disappeared. You know where the $8.6 billion he handed him the other day is gonna go? To start a war. That's right. From the orange whore who declares no more wars. He's given Dudu Netanyahu $8.6 billion of American money so that he can buy more weapons and fighter jets to start a war with Iran, honey. Yep, that's what they discussed. We're going to give Israel the money and the boom booms they need to start a war with Iran. You know how Iran came out the other day to say that they felt like effectively they were in a war with Israel, America, and Europe, honey? That's why they feel that way. because we are giving billions of our dollars to Dudu Netanyahu to do exactly that, boo. That's why they feel that way. It's justified today to feel that way. Meanwhile, here in the US of A, they're telling you what you can and cannot eat, and you cannot have healthcare, boo. No. You can't buy soda. You can't buy chips. You can't buy cake. You can't buy a birthday cake for your baby on his fucking birthday. That's just a line too far with the GOP today. But they can take your money, your American money that's supposed to be supporting Americans, and give it to someone else to start a war with another country. So how is this making America great? I'm waiting for you to fucking explain how this makes America great. Because from what I can see, the only thing Dudu Netanyahu is doing for you and me is making our enemies hate us even more, baby. He's making our allies our enemies, too. Thanks to Dudu Netanyahu and his genocide plays that are being funded by me and you and our taxpayer money, honey, we effectively have a target on us here. And that orange man does not care at all. He's insulated and he's protected today by all the money he is stealing from you, honey. That lame duck president has us here like sitting ducks. Who do you think's gonna go duck hunting first? And he's handing them the weapons to do it.
I need you to pay attention to what I'm going to say, and I want you to save or share this because some platforms are going to try to take it down or bury it. This is NSPM 7, Countering Domestic Terrorism and Organized Political Violence, and it just got signed. And buried inside of it are a series of traps. It says the government can treat anti-American, anti-capitalist, and anti-Christian views as indicators of political violence. This allows them to target people they will label as potentially politically violent. The goal of NSPM 7 is to give the government the authority to arrest and charge people before they actually do anything illegal. This is about ideology. And pay attention, because NSPM 7 broadly gives them the authority to label and arrest anyone who supports the overthrow of the US government, supports extremism on migration, supports extremism on race or gender, and it also includes going after people who have hostility towards those who hold traditional American values on family, hostility for those who hold traditional American views on religion, and hostility for those who hold traditional American views on morality. And they slipped in civil disorder, which can mean almost anything. All those statements are very broad and ambiguous, and that's by design. When dissent is defined as anti-American, any protest can be labeled anti-American. Question capitalism, you're an anti-capitalist. Criticize Christian nationalism or religion in schools, you're anti-Christian. It's not an accident. Broad language is a weapon. Suppose ICE kicks in some doors in a city and there's a protest, and if you join, even peacefully, they could call that anti-American or civil disorder. You call out a corporation for exploitative practices, they could call that anti-capitalist. Criticize Christian political ideology, you're anti-Christian. This gives them cover to stretch definitions however they want. The worst part, you won't see it instantly, and that's how authoritarian change happens. One day you'll wake up and say, why can't I say this? Or since when is that illegal? This is the playbook. Once they have the cover to treat thought and ideology as threat, they escalate. Surveillance of dissidents and organizers, prosecutions under broad terrorism labels, deploying federal forces inside cities, media and speech control, purging or silencing dissent. I'm not asking you to panic. I'm asking you to fucking pay attention. Don't just shrug and scroll. Share this. Demand your media talk about it. Don't normalize repression, because in a year or 2 or 5, you're going to wake up and look around and think, I should have paid attention. And by then, it's too late. We have to continue to resist.
That control grid that I've been warning you about, it arrived here in America, brought to you by none other than Apple. I worked for Apple for 17 years and still hold quite a bit of stock, so it brings me no joy in telling you this. But there are no good guys here, and that's exactly why we need to shut it down while we still can. Apple just rolled out digital ID integration. Sounds convenient, right? But every convenience has a price. Once your identity goes digital, it becomes programmable. And once it's programmable, it becomes controllable. You are handing over your entire identity wrapped in a product, a file that can easily be deleted. If you don't comply, you lose access. If they don't like your opinion, they freeze your accounts. Step out of line. No travel, no bank transfers, no benefits. This isn't speculation. It's already live. Thailand has programmable digital currency. Europe introduced biometric wallets. Canada froze accounts during protests. China's where the pilot began, and they're in full production mode with a live social credit system. They're secretly building the infrastructure at a global level right now, not through laws or force, yet. They're building it through updates and convenience. In Vietnam, they deleted 86 million bank accounts because people wouldn't agree to a digital ID. In the EU, by 2027, they're outlawing large cash payments, forcing people onto digital rails that they can control. This is just the on-ramp. Your freedom becomes conditional when your identity is controlled by a corporation or a government that can revoke it with a keystroke. This is how dystopia arrives. Not with tanks or force, with app updates or convenience. Pay attention and push back while you still can. Let's go.
Less than 5 years to stop them, or we'll never have another chance. They come right out and they tell us exactly what they're going to do. It's a one world government, one world cashless currency, one world central bank, one world military, social credit scores that the government can use to turn off your bank account. Vietnam just deleted 86 million bank accounts of people who refused to get their digital ID. They just deleted them. Wonder where that money went. If you're not paying attention, you probably don't know that England is putting people in prison for social media posts like memes and fucking comments. This is the trajectory that we're headed. Dude just got put in federal prison in England for saying that he didn't want his tax dollars prioritizing illegal immigrants instead of being used for the betterment of his own countrymen. Listen, if you don't start standing up and saying something like I am, this will be the end of national sovereignty. It will be the end of privately owned property. They're literally telling people in other countries that if you don't accept digital IDs, you're going to be excluded from society. That's what they're telling them. That means they won't allow you to board a train, to get on a plane, to go to work. They won't allow you to do the things that you would normally do if you don't accept their digital ID. I'm telling you that they won't allow you to pay your fucking mortgage without providing them a digital ID number. They'll take away your home for non-compliance. They'll disallow or remove your children from school. This isn't a joke. This is what's happening right now. We have less than 5 years to do something about it. If you don't recognize how serious this is, you're not paying attention. This is what they're doing. They won't allow you to register your cars. They'll turn you away from medical care. And they'll do all this while they're telling you that you're not being forced to do anything. It's your choice, right? Like it was your choice 5 years ago with the jab. Remember that? This is how they institute the new normal. This is how they end the family unit. This is how they force mandatory schmaccinations. This is how they introduce universal basic income. This is how they introduce microchipping, a global credit system. This is what they want. This is what they're building right now. And they're coming right out and they're telling you. Thousands of 5G towers, the end of private transportation, the end of private farms, businesses run by the government, travel restrictions, restricted land use. You think this is far-fetched? Take a look around and wake the fuck up. They already tested it in 2020 with the lockdowns, restrictions, fear campaigns, government-run media. And most people complied without a second thought. That was the dress rehearsal. That was the warm-up round. 2030 is their final act. But here's the thing. It was all supposed to go down in 2015, but they missed their deadline. So they pushed it back to 2020, and they missed that too. And what does that tell you? See, it tells me that we're much more fierce of an opponent than they ever realized. They didn't account for level-headed, logical thinking, like-minded brothers like us to dig our heels in and say, fuck you, but it's not good enough. And their efforts will only get more aggressive, more pronounced, and more relentlessly egregious towards dissenters. And here's the truth. If we don't fight back now, if we don't raise our voices, if we don't refuse to comply, if we don't build strength and unity in our own communities, then when the curtain drops, it's over. We won't get another chance. This is bigger than politics. This is about freedom. This is about sovereignty. This is about whether your kid and your grandkids get to live free or as digital slaves in a system that is designed to own them.